So we built out this process for them, looking at these various different things for their marketing and conversion KPIs. So we took a look at their customer categories and groups, their lead and opportunity sources, product service categories, the value, the size of things that were coming in, how quickly things were coming in and turning around. And we did this by creating a small number of KPIs that we broke down by variables or variation metrics here. So we want to know total leads, but we need to know it by the category, because total leads overall is great, but are we experiencing a lead generation problem in level 1, 2, 3, or 4? By breaking those things down and putting those modifiers in there, we can take a look at the individualized performance through a single cohesive KPI that is basically just filtered down to show me the data and the performance of those various categories. And we take that methodology and we apply it to all the different pieces here by saying the cost per lead source. Here are our lead sources. Let's take a look at the cost per lead by each one of these lead sources.
So they used to use this enrollment form as their sales conversion, because that's when sales was done. Sales had to get a signed enrollment form, and then they went into the onboarding process. But you can see here that all of these KPIs measure, and then what, right? You did what you did here, and then what? These are all the outcomes of the stages. And you'll see here at the sales conversion stage, we're no longer measuring conversion by completed enrollment forms. We're measuring conversion by what gets onboarded,
right,
and is producing revenue. So those are really important things. And you can use this tool we gave you today to really think about, on the left side, what are you investing? On the right side, what are you getting out of it?
Right.
So I'm just going to dive into this budget really quick, because some people think, wow, this is a huge budget. Well, according to Gartner, the percent of marketing budget as a percent of revenue has been going down. It's down to 11%. So think about, if you are a $10 million company right now, 1.1 million is what CMOs report as the average marketing budget for your company. And people are like, oh my goodness, no way. And that does not include sales. And so a lot of companies can be led to believe that they need to spend huge amounts in marketing, and that, because they haven't hit that 11% yet, that they're just not spending enough, and that's why they're not getting anything out of it. So don't be fooled by that. In this particular case, the company had operated for a really long time, running a $500,000 annual marketing budget, because that was the percent of revenue recommended for their industry by industry benchmarks. But when we broke it down, we really looked at 18% of their marketing budget actually had no accountability at all, because it was in the wrong category. So it was not being measured against the things that part of the marketing budget was contributing to produce. And the other piece is, you're still spending $450,000 at the top. Your two highest categories in this particular example of lead generation were trade show and inbound. And when we looked at it by customer category, they were producing level 1 and level 2 customers, which are the ones that the company didn't even really want. That we can serve you, but you're not very profitable for us. We don't want that type of customer. And we have a company that we're working with now, almost 600 customers, like less than 10 of them are the top 25% of their profitability. Less than 20 of them are the top 50% of their profitability. And less than half of them are 98% of their profitability. The bottom 288 of their nearly 600 customers result in the bottom 2% of the profitability. How much does it cost you to retain and sell to more than half of your customers that you're not making profit off of? So these polls are driving me nuts this time. I have to fix this, Liz. But how do you rate the quality of the KPIs that you have today? We asked this question a little bit differently before, but now we're really wanting to see if anybody changed their mind. You know, are we not looking at data at all? Do you think you're looking at the wrong data? We have too many to be useful. So I'll keep you guys posted. Right now, we've got 67% in category 1. Oh, we're starting to get some balancing as the answers roll in. It looks like a lot of 1s and 4s here in this room right now. No 5s yet. We got a pretty good split here. So just to give you a rundown, and we'll keep on cracking today. We've got 20% in 1, poor, we're not looking at data at all. 40% in 2, we are looking at the wrong data. And that is so common. I would say that is today, with everything being in technology, we are looking at wrong data all the time.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, 1 just jumped to 27%. And then in 3 and 4, we have 18% in each. And we have 0 in number 5. No 1. Last chance to eke in a number 5 if you think you're killing it. All right. No one ever says 5, so you're all right. That's very honest answers, everybody. So it looks like number 2 is most popular at 36%, 27% at 1, and 18% at the others. You know, people say, Tara, how can you be so excited about data? Like, I'm pretty geeked out about data. But this is why, because I really like people. And over my career, I have seen so many times where data is the dragon lurking that creates our people problems. And there's nothing worse than fixing a people problem. Like, you can fix process and data, they don't talk back, but the people problems, they linger, right? They don't go away. If you have distrust and accusations and discourse and friction because everybody's running around making dataless decisions, it is like herding a bag of cats, right? You're just trying to keep everybody together, and everyone's going in all these different directions, which is why we want to invest in KPIs. Because trust and accountability occurs when we have good KPIs. When our team can make data-driven decisions, we are aligned, and we can collaborate for good decisions on behalf of our company and on behalf of our people. Because at the end of the day, everybody in every single role loves data. They love knowing what they're doing. They love being confident in their decisions. And they also like money. They're not just showing up for no money. So if they know that they're driving your dollars in your business, then, you know, and you know that they're doing it, then, you know, there can be a nice little, you know, performance kickback circle going on. But if nothing else, my ego is I am securing my job for the future because I am participating in making this company viable long term. So I know it's kind of like utopia here, but in this worksheet, we're really going to be talking about creating a culture of accountability that everyone loves, because they do love it. And you can have it at your organization, because so many times accountability has historically been Big Brother watching over my shoulder, seeing whether or not I'm doing what I'm supposed to, right, Liz?
Oh, yeah.
And that word just has such a nasty connotation, but you know, people love being accountable.
Right. And when you bring it down to it, and when you start to expand out that measurement, you show everyone how their work impacts not just their department or the overall bottom line, but also how it flows downstream and starts to affect everyone. You get everyone on the same page, and people are naturally going to want to help others and to work with others. And by giving everyone this information, they have the tools that they need to understand how to make everything work in concert with one another.
So let's tackle the utopia, Liz. I'm turning it over to you. This is your world. How do people get their data today?
Yeah, so that worksheet that Tara just showed, just so everyone knows, that is in your downloads. I believe that the link should be in the chat in order to download all of those different worksheets. But we're going to take a look at a couple different things within this worksheet itself. In the first section that we're going to talk about is data accessibility. Really, how is it available? Where is it? Is it reported to me? How often is it reported? And who's reporting it? This is your point in time data. It's filtered to control the story. It can involve human error, which means that you're not necessarily getting the full story. If someone's just telling you that we got X% of whatever taken care of, you don't actually have, there's some distrust in that report because you're not seeing the full story, and it's only that point in time, not an overall view of how everything is happening.
So Liz, I just have one great story about this. A couple years ago, I talked to a very respectable, I mean, an excellent business leader. Team loved him, running a great company, growing. And when it came to data, he said that after every weekly meeting, when he got his reports from the departments, he had 4 hours scheduled to sit in his office, and he taped the reports to the wall to try to figure out how they fit together. I was like, holy cow, you're not only spending a meeting to get all your reports, but you're spending 4 hours to try to figure out how they link up because your timelines are different and you don't know what led to what. I was like, oh my goodness, dashboard, radar.
Yeah, definitely. In those cases, when you're spending that much time on a regular basis trying to make those connections, it's time to look at a potential solution to maybe save some time there. So another way that you can get to data that she just brought up here is that direct access. What am I looking at? It's, am I able to actually get to the data in the system and look at it myself? This is a great way to see data because it's right from the source. You know exactly what's going on. However, it's segregated within that software. So you're not necessarily seeing how it compares to those financial metrics. You're not seeing that full push through. You're not understanding how sales and marketing necessarily fully play in the same playground. You're losing insights by looking at everything in those singular segregated views like that. Another downside to this is that actually viewing all the data here is a high labor cost. It's back to that same thing that Tara was saying. You might not have all these reports that you're taping to the wall and trying to figure out how it all comes together, but you're going through and you're clicking on a bunch of different reports and back and forth and trying to figure it out. It takes a lot of time. But also, it's hard for everyone to be able to do that. It's maybe one person that's going to be able to do that. That's then going to have to distribute that data to everyone else. And then you're back to that reported to me segment.
Yep.
But
We have
also,
one CEO in our portfolio that was spending 37 hours a month as the only person that had access to all the systems for filling out the EOS scorecard. So if you're on a operating system kind of model, and you're trying to do regular data reporting, you know, usually it's one of your highest valued leaders that has access and is pulling the data out of the systems into the reports, 37 hours a month of CEO time.
that's almost a full week CEO time there.
Yeah, no, I ain't got time for that.
So this final segment here, we're looking at access to integrated data on an automated dashboard. That's a tool where you're going to see all that aggregated data. You're going to see it in one place. You're going to be able to use those variation metrics that we talked about before to be able to see all those different filters and get that information as quickly as possible. And also losing that whole, it's just a point in time by having possibly time variables in there or it's set up to be as near real time as it possibly can be.